is an enormous, powerful tool. We're all Rotarians, we're all volunteers, we're all service-oriented, but we have day jobs, we have families. So when a Rotary member steps up, takes on a role as president of their club, takes on a job, whether it's a small one or a big one, and does it well, gratitude is one of the best things we can do to give that person something in exchange. And it's as simple as a thank you. And again, like those psychologists, this works. I have found, since discovering this, you'd think, well, I should know this, discovering this, that this works wonders. People that get, and I'm not talking about gratuitous, I'm talking about people that deserve the thanks. They step up, they are active, they do a good job, they continue doing a good job. It's a tool that for Rotarians was, I think, overlooked until now, maybe. There's the magic of making new friends, or as I like to say, finding hidden gems when we look for them. As I have gone on the journey of around the district and getting to this role, I've had a chance to meet a lot of amazing people. One of them is sitting right here, Kelly Willman, but I don't want to embarrass her or pick her up. But these are people that when you do the simple point of asking them, so what is it you do? What is it you like to do? What are your passions? Tell me a little bit about yourself. You find out amazing things. And I have found people that have skills, passions, that are lying there in plain sight. And sometimes people didn't know, because people don't promote themselves. But when you find those, they're hidden gems. And I'm going to give you one example. How many people know who Peter Berthod is? Aside from him. Peter Berthod was the past president of the Marlton Rotary Club, and I was the assistant governor for that club. And I was looking for an assistant governor to fill an open position in my year. Peter, call me. So he calls me. Peter, I have seen the wonderful way in which you led that club. You inspired people. You brought in new ideas. You were organized, thoughtful. I said, you'd be a wonderful assistant governor. Oh, Steve, I can't do it. I've got family, work, my club. Okay, Peter, I understand. So, Peter, what is it you like to do in your spare time? What is it that you love to do? Well, Steve, it's funny you ask that. For many years now, I have been doing videos, podcasts, if you will, video podcasts for my alma mater. And he starts describing this process and what he does, and it's clear he loves doing it, and he's very good at it. That's great, Peter. And then he said something. Steve, this is just what Rotary needs. Because young people today, and many of us, do not, we tend to be more attuned to videos than written words. And this is a great way to explain and promote Rotary to a broader audience. Peter, that's wonderful. Tell you what, why don't you reach out to Ralph Cooper and see what you can do. I hung up and went on to other things, kind of forgot about it. Before I knew, Peter's got this thing up and running. He's got a platform for it. He's even gotten a name, Behind the Wheel, and he's got this on YouTube. How many people have seen Behind the Wheel beside these folks? Well, I've given you these handouts. These handouts are 4 QR codes. The third one down is for Behind the Wheel. You can find it right on our website and open it up. You can also go on YouTube and search for Rotary District 7505, and you'll see Behind the Wheel. So here's how wonderful and brilliant Peter is. If he's going to interview you, he's going to do some background research. Then he's going to talk to you. And then he will do a great introduction about Rotary and how you're part of the mission of Rotary, and introduce the excitement of Rotary. His excitement is palpable when you see this man. Then he interviews you. And the interviews are wonderful. And I'm going to tell you that if you go look at these, you will be inspired. And you will learn some amazing things and meet some amazing people. And this process is ongoing. But here's how this could be very useful to you. How many of us have been asked that dread question? Oh, you're in Rotary. What is Rotary? Guess what? Now you can say, da, 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 da. And you could say, oh, by the way, you want to see us in action? Go look up behind the wheel. And then you're going to see that. Now, I don't know of many, if any, districts that are doing this. We're cutting edge. I want your help. I want you, just like it says on this sheet, I want you to watch the videos. I want you to like the videos. I want you to subscribe and share. Because we know that that's how, in social media, things get traction and they get well known. I would love in a year's time when people look up Rotary in New Jersey, they see behind the wheel. And all of a sudden they see these fascinating things. I'd love that we have 1,000 subscribers, but it starts with you. And this is something that you'll find well worth your while. So, finding hidden gems. Where do we look for them? Engaging people, being curious. I have some questions. Are there some hidden gems in your clubs? Maybe there are. You know, I'm sorry?
Ours aren't hidden.
That's right. But my point is that there's always things to learn about people, and it's fascinating. Especially if you have a new member. Every new member is a resource and a challenge for your club. So here's some things you can do to find out. First of all, you ask people, you engage them. You ask some of the same questions I asked. But maybe what you want to do is have the member, we need a program. Ralph, could you give us a program and stand up and tell us about the 3 people who mentored you, got you where you are now? You know, that may be something that you don't know about. I was in Toronto, and one of the programs I attended was getting younger members involved and engaged in Rotary. So they're in this club and they're with a bunch of old people. I should stop talking about that young myself. But my point is that one of the great ways is that when a young person is starting their career, here's somebody older that says, well, I'm a successful proctologist, and here's how I got there. And these people that got me where they were. That's helpful. But it's also with new members, it's a great way to get people introduced. Also, we've had this happen when I was vocational service chair before Stacy. I used to promote the idea that people stand up and they tell you a little bit about what's going on in their field. When we had COVID, we had an attorney in our club, a litigator, who talked about how the courts were dealing with COVID and functioning. Now, you may say, well, they don't want to know about that. Yeah, they do. I'm a mortician, and you wouldn't believe what we have to deal with dead bodies nowadays. Haha. No. My point is, people, it's kind of interesting. So anyway, there's lots of ways in which there are hidden gems. And are there hidden gems in your community? The same kind of thing we're talking about. Things to think about. There's the magic of inspiring others and touching their lives. This is maybe the flip side of gratitude. I'll give you an example. In my club, there was a member who was out looking for sponsors. So she's at a local business, and she's sitting and she's explaining everything, and the man stops her and says, Voorhees Breakfast Rotary Club, oh my God, you sponsored me for Wyla. You don't know how much that changed my life. You know, when I heard that story, this is a person who is telling us how important we are. And that's gratitude that energizes us and tells us why what we do matters. Does anybody in any of these clubs have something like that happened that they could think of? And again, when I ask these questions, you don't have to answer them now, but something to think about as you go forward and you consider the magic of Rotary and where it might lie. There's the magic of collaboration. Now, I don't have to tell this group, you guys have gotten here together. And collaboration is so important. Too many clubs, especially some smaller clubs, tend to look inward. They're not looking outward. I call it I call it in my more cynical moments, the La Cosa Nostra. It's our house. We don't want anybody else in. I know that's not this group. But when you collaborate, all kinds of good things happen. As an AG, I had 2 clubs. One club was kind of really stuck. It was like, Steve, we do the same things year in and year out. I don't know, nothing changes. I don't know what's gonna happen. I just, it's just like, ugh. Another club had a different set of problems, but when we got them together and they did things together, they all helped each other. And both of those clubs shook things out. Now as I've looked into your clubs and found out something, I think there's several ways I suspect in which your clubs can help each other. Now I know Ocean City Upper Township is using Club Runner. I don't see that you've used it for a website yet, but that's something that's good, but you're using it.
Yes.
And I know that Somers Point has Club Runner, but I don't think they know how to use it yet. It is a great program. This is a way in which you can help each other, and I'm sure it goes the other way too, because Somers Point has some great things going on, including a possible satellite club. Club Runner. The top item here, Club Runner changeover training. Last year, we got the Club Runner support people to do these great programs. They videoed, and they're all on this website, and they're gonna work on some new ones. Club Runner is an amazing tool, and if you have it, use it. There's so many things you can do. I could rattle them off, but I can tell you that they have we use it as a way to keep a Friends of Rotary database. So if we want to send out an announcement, we can send it out to the people that have come to our club and have supported us. We can use it. We used it. I used it to create a website for our club, and it's like Lego blocks. It's got all these great tools, and when you learn how to use them, you can make some amazing structures with those Lego blocks. They call them widgets. And there's all kinds of things that can help you with event planning, event promotion, all kinds of things like that. Something to think about, but that's not why I'm here to talk. The magic of collaboration, how you inspire each other, you help each other, work together on your projects. Again, you don't have to merge. This is just you working together. And I have found, I went to a 5-club joint event at Barnegat, and the energy, like here, the energy in that room was amazing. And the camaraderie. And there was one club that was struggling a little bit and had a fundraiser. Another club stepped up and said, we'll help you with it, work with you. And that's the kind of thing that happens. And everybody, you know what they say, a rising tide lifts all boats. That's what we're all about. And when we talk about collaboration, the district and the structures in Rotary are here to help you. People say, well, we pay all these dues, what does the district do for us? Well, I'll rattle off a few things. We have a website. There's a lot of important, valuable information in there. We're going to make it even better. You have a public image chair sitting right here. He's working very hard to help us all with public image and supporting each other. We have a membership chair, Bill Ridgway, who has been invaluable and he's been helpful. These are people here to help you. You have an assistant governor. Your assistant governor is more important than I am. I'm just a temporary caretaker of this district. Your assistant governor is somebody, and Stacy's been assistant governor for a long time. She, like all the assistant governors, is here to help you. If you have a problem or an issue, maybe Club Runner, maybe you have something that you run into, you don't know how to deal with, your assistant governor is there as a resource. She, or in many cases he, can help answer the questions you may have. If she doesn't have the answer, she will know where to find it. Because every month, the assistant governors get together and meet, and they talk about what they're dealing with. They talk about, exchange ideas. They all know each other, so Stacy can call on any of the other assistant governors for ideas and help. And she knows elsewhere how to find the answers to things. When I was an assistant governor, I helped one of my clubs learn how to promote events, and I was able to walk them through it. So they're there to help. But more importantly, your assistant governor is an information conduit, very important, because as district governor, or anyone in district leadership, if they need to reach out to the clubs, some clubs haven't paid their dues, or maybe they haven't named a president-elect, the assistant governor reaches out to the clubs and connects with them. If I send out a blast email, even to all the presidents, what percentage do you think are going to open it? If it's 25%, that's a lot. But your assistant governor knows your clubs, knows you, and can reach out to you. And likewise, if you have a problem or issue and you want help with it, she can communicate with me and the other people in district leadership, and we can see what we can do to help you. And above the district, there's something called the zone. The second item on here is called Making Your Club Simply Irresistible. This video series is excellent. It was put together by a couple of really amazing people at the zone about ways in which you make your club simply irresistible. Because if clubs are going to grow and going to be vibrant and stay vibrant, because you say, oh, we have 50 members, we don't have anything to worry about. Yes, you do. I've seen clubs with 50 members and down to 10. It's constant, because people move, people die, people leave, all kinds of things. So those videos are well worth it. Just to give you some idea how great they are, the second one I love is called How to Rock the Boat Without Sinking the Ship. Anybody that's been in Rotary knows that that's a problem. But there's a lot of great ideas in there, things that I hope will help you. And when we talk about relationships, everybody says, let's grow Rotary, we need members. Well, how do you get members? You know what the core of membership growth is? Relationships. That's what Rotary is all about. And relationships are something that we have to work at. I call it salesmanship. I've had conversations with people about sales, and it's interesting when you talk to somebody that does sales. Anybody here that does selling as a primary part of their job responsibilities? Good. So I'm sure that you can you can do a great program on, here's how I sell. First, I locate the customer. I qualify the customer. What does the customer want? What does the customer need? And what can I sell that customer that will meet their needs? And how do I develop that relationship and keep it going? And most importantly, I've learned as a salesperson, that you don't always get a sale with every first contact. It takes persistence, polite persistence, developing relationships. Clubs that I've seen that have developed this technique, and like Friends of Rotary, you have people that show up, okay, you don't want to be a member? Guess what? Would you like to help us with some of our projects? And sit down with us, roll up your sleeves and do this. On my Voorhees Breakfast Rotary Club, I have a page that's called How to Help and Join Us. And that was kind of what that is. So this is all part of what we can all do to grow Rotary. Now, what do we have in Rotary that is probably the most magical thing of all? Our Rotary Foundation. Now, Somers Point, of course, we don't need to tell them about the foundation. They have done it. Why is the foundation so special? First of all, the foundation is a charitable arm of Rotary. It is our only official charity. It is one of the best charities in the world. The Rotary Foundation has had top marks from Charity Navigator for over 16 years. That means it's tops in terms of the percentage of money coming in that goes out to the mission. It's tops in terms of transparency, solvency, management, all those good things. So how does that work? When your club, donates to the foundation, and there's ways in which you can do that. One of them is on the bottom, something called Rotary Direct. You don't have to, it's not difficult, you don't have to send money to your club, you can donate directly. We do this, I do that, my wife and I. You set up an account. I'd like to donate $100. Here's my bank account information or my credit card. And it happens. Or I'd like to donate $100 a month, or $299. I'd like to commit to $1,000 a year for going forward, and I become a Paul Harris Fellow. All these things that are labels. But the important thing is the foundation is there to serve the greater things, greater parts of what Rotary does, the best of Rotary. Now, I've been talking about the mechanics. Somebody said, don't sell the steak, sell the sizzle. So let me talk about the sizzle and the magic of the foundation as part of the magic of Rotary. Polio. We've all heard about polio. People in this country have never experienced it. But in 1979, some visionary Rotary leaders realized that polio was a problem and there could be something we did about it. In 1985, there were 350,000 cases a year of polio. Horrible. People that have died, children that are disabled. You see these wretches there, they're crawling around. I don't need to tell you the rest. Rotary started the program of vaccinations all around the world, and they've gotten 99.9% WIT. 2 years ago, I think it was 20 cases a year. Now we're up to 40, 45, something like that, because things we can't control. The Taliban basically saying you can't vaccinate in our country. Other countries, they're having a problem. Right now, polio is still endemic in only 2 countries, Pakistan and Afghanistan. So far, we have spent $22 billion. No, so far the total spend has been $22 billion for polio eradication, and we're not done yet. It will be done when there are no reported cases or observed cases of polio in the world, and there's no trace of polio in the sewage or the groundwater. We're not there yet. Wait a minute, why are we spending all this money for something that's pretty much wiped out except for 2 countries that we don't really like? Because some well-done studies have shown that if we stop vaccinating before it's wiped out, we've wiped out smallpox, but if we stop before it's done, in 10 to 15 years, we'll be back up to 250,000 cases a year. And polio is only 1 plane flight away from your backyard. Okay, so how did all this happen? Oh, $22 billion. Anybody want to guess how much of that $22 billion came directly from Rotary?
About half.
Oh, yeah.
10%. 10%. So how did that happen? Because we had the vision. We did the planning. We did the structure. We advocated. There are governments and nonprofit foundations like the Gates Foundation. If we raise $50 million for polio eradication, they will match it 2 for 1, $100 million. They've been doing that for years. All this happened because Bill Gates happened to be sitting next to a Rotary leader and started talking. And the more he found out about how we do things, the more they liked it. So that advocacy is part of the magic of Rotary. There's something else about the magic of Rotary that's in polio. All over the world, there are teams, cadres of volunteers who can go into these a remote village in the Andes or in a jungle or in some other place, India, and can be welcomed in, respected, and trusted to administer vaccines and other needed health care for these people in these far-flung places. They are trusted. These are people, Rotary had to overcome the warlords, the tribal leaders, and they've done that. Now here's something that's amazing. After Rotary actually the world is able to wipe out polio, this group of volunteers all over the world will still be there as a lasting testament to the magic of Rotary. This is something that we've done and that will be there. When they were when the World Health Organization was battling Ebola, these volunteers were enlisted to help. So this is something we should be proud of. This is the magic of volunteerism. There's another side to volunteerism that we kind of maybe know about but forget about. And I'll give you an example. In 2021, I keep saying 1921, 2021, the Rotary Foundation Disaster Response Fund dedicated all the donations for a period of several months to humanitarian relief in the Ukraine. Now, before the war, there were 60 Rotary clubs in Ukraine. So how did this money, this $15 million, get where it was needed? Because there were Rotarians on the ground who, in many places, were the leading leaders of their community, but they knew what was needed, where it was needed. They knew how to get things done, how to avoid the graft and the dishonesty and so forth. And for the most part, they were successful. This is the magic of volunteers, Rotary volunteers. If you have something that's needed anywhere, there are local people just like you who care, who can be counted on to do the job right, to make sure that things get done and the money is not wasted. This is part of the magic of Rotary. What does the foundation do? I could rattle off all the things about the environment, about child and maternal health care, education, literacy. I'm going to give one that's a special one for me. Peace building. All over the world, there are institutions of higher learning that will train peace builders. And if you nominate someone who is selected into this program, it's at no cost to them. They can go and get a graduate degree or a certificate in peace building. And these people are very important. There's at least two that I know of from my area. One is a filmmaker at Rutgers-Camden University. The other is a police officer in Philadelphia. This again is part of what's very important. And in our district, we will soon become a peace builder district. That is one of the districts that supports through our contributions the prospect of peace. So all that's important. And again, I neglected to mention about the foundation. 100% when you donate to the foundation, Rotary holds that money for 3 years. At the end of 3 years, 95% goes back into Rotary. Half of that 95%, or about 47.5%, comes to our district for our use. It's called district designated funds, and half of that, or about 23%, is available for district grants. But guess what? How much we get depends on how much you contribute. Think about that. How many people have a credit card with cash back? A lot of us do. How many people get 23% cash back? I'd like that. So this is all part of what we can do. And another thing about the foundation, unlike most charities, we have a substantial say in how the money is used. And like I said about the peace builders, that's part of the portion of that money that comes to us that's not used for district grants. It's available for global grants. It's available for other things like contribution to polio or peace builder districts. This is very important. This is how we and our leaders make sure the money gets where it needs to get. So that's pretty much everything. My point is that we are the magic. We can make it happen. And to help us in that, Rotary has a lot of things to help us with. The Learning Center, which if you haven't been on, is very useful. Some wonderful programs there. I've learned a lot, even though I thought I knew a lot. There's a lot I didn't know. And then there's my district conference. On the other side of this handout is an introduction to my district conference. And I want to welcome you all to come. I decided to do it locally at a hotel. It's a very nice hotel. They're making a lot of renovations. It's easy to get to. It's in Cherry Hill. You can commute, but if you don't commute, and I suspect most of you won't because of the distance, it's only $140 a night plus tax. Very reasonable. And we're going to be rolling out the registration shortly, but it's tentatively going to be $300 for the registration per person. After February, it's going to be $325. So we will have some great programs, but more importantly, I want to create some events. How many people have been on a cruise? You've been on a cruise, you know there's shore excursions? Well, I want to have shore excursions. One of the things that we're looking at is having a guided tour, our own special guided tour of the National Constitution Center in Philadelphia and the Museum of the American Revolution. Both amazing, and they're easy to get to from Cherry Hill. It's a quick drive to the Speedline station, and you take the Speedline station there. And this would be a great way to share a great experience with your Rotary friends or family and get to know each other. And there's many other things that we're gonna do that will be different than that. So thank you all. Thank you for this great event. And does anybody, before I leave, does anybody have any questions for me?